Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Africans. Couple Africans and the African Canadian getting together and talking about the events and interesting story arcs that have come from the world of football over this week. This is something we want to start. Almost our live check in, our This Week in Football Around the World, our version of that. If you're new to the channel, Pete, don't forget to subscribe. Leave us a comment and let us know what you feel, what you're excited for, and whatnot. Today we have a couple things we want to cover, but I'd be remiss if I not start. As a Canadian Ghanaian here on the channel, I did want to say and wish happy National Independence Day to our homeland of Ghana, March 6th being that day. Many years, I would have come with a lot more equipment and a lot more things, but I'm keeping it very much tame today. So congratulations to Ghana on another year of independence, March 6th marking its independence. And as a result, what we're going to do, we're going to break through every great achievement that Ghana's had in world football. I'm joking. We won't do that. But we will definitely highlight, speaking of Ghana, we'll highlight their team. But today we want to focus on three major areas. One, want to take a look at the EPL, what's been happening there. We have the Manchester Derby today. So definitely an interesting talking point and seeing how the table is looking for the Premier League moving forward. We want to take a look at La Liga and take a look and ask ourselves, has Barcelona started to gain form? Is this the Barca we will see before? And thirdly, we do want to highlight the events that took place with the Queretaro versus Atlas match in the Liga Mexi that took place, the events that happened. And for those of you who aren't aware, at this point, at least 17 people were dead when fights and riots broke out within the stands, which then spilled onto the field. The match was suspended. Some of the content out there is not suitable for a lot of people, if not many, if not, it was just bad. And there's a lot of people asking themselves, what's the punishment that Mexico should face or the League MX should face itself? Should League MX be banned? Should they have their fans banned for the rest of the year? Should there be more sanctions on the Football Federation in Mexico? What are the repercussions? And we also kind of want to spin this off to a conversation, which is the worst football experience you've had. So, what's the worst match you've been to, whether that be the fans, whether that just be overall aspects of the environment going to the game? There have been a few interesting ones looking into it, I think, to name a few. Looking at, say, some of the behind the scenes footage of the Euros final with Italy versus England. I watched that at one of my uncle's places, and even watching some of the behind the scenes of fans trying to rush in, get in for overcapacity, all that stuff. It was hard to watch. So I think that those are the three questions we want to ask you here. One, EPL thoughts. Second, La Liga thoughts. And third, but not least, we want to take a look at the idea of what is the most difficult or the worst football environment you've ever attended and been a part of. Those are our topics. It's going to be a two-man booth again today. Still, Monkey D is running a little bit late, but in that case, what we are going to do is just start off by just asking and wondering and taking a look at the Premier League and what has been happening there so far. Let's just get these going. Get these going indeed. So, first, what we kind of want to look at is the Premier League and kind of how the table is looking. And to be very honest, I am, as a Wolves fan, if you did not know that, I am a Wolves fan. So it is the interesting conversation to see how your team is actually progressing. And I will say, we said before, last time we spoke on the podcast, we talked about the idea of I needed Wolves to either make a move or just be put out of its misery. And that's it. And I think I got something. I definitely got something. That is for sure. It is not what I expected, but it's definitely something that I got as we take a look at the table as it sits. And Wolves sitting in eighth place after three consecutive losses, not totally out of it, but losses against, man, I think their last loss this past week was probably the most difficult one. They did play well, had a lot of opportunities, but weren't able to put anything away against both West Ham as well as Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace today, though, felt a lot more just like a drubbing, to be honest. We didn't have that many opportunities to be in the game, which leaves us in eighth spot with 27 matches played. Still only 5 matches, 5 points, actually 7 points behind fifth place in the Europa. But overall, sitting back. And I think the question for Wolves now is, are they able to gain? I mean, speaking with my co-host, the thought was always that finishing top 10 is ideal for Wolves. I thought going into this year, they could push maybe seventh to sixth. They are close. I think the style of play, though, does affect them. They aren't the best playing with that many players, and more so, they'll play a defensive style. So when the goals start to mount up, this isn't necessarily the team that is going to really be able to go back and forth with you. They're not going to get into a shootout with City, Liverpool, or even Arsenal at that matter. They will struggle to create, and we're definitely seeing that not being able to do so. I think looking at Tottenham, where they're currently sitting, Tottenham definitely had a good window coming off today with a match win against. Nope, they play tomorrow against Everton, but they did lose the Middlesbrough in the FA Cup, which was a bit of a disappointment for them. However, I do think they are still in the running for that UEFA spot for the Europa League, and that definitely does give them the opportunity. Man United, West Ham and Man United, 2 points separating them. Just one win can change your fortunes, but I do think that the key thing is going to be whether they are actually able to put some wins together. West Ham and Man United, if you look at their last 5 fixtures, both 2 wins, 2 draws, and a loss, and staying there. Goals for about equal, goals against. Man, you conceded a few more, but that goal difference is the key thing. 7 versus 11. West Ham's had more of those outright games, and I think seeing Arsenal continue to climb up, you definitely see their ability to really move in that aspect. So I think it's, for me, Saga had a good match today for Arsenal. I'm looking forward to really see if Man U can hold on to that title, but more importantly, can they hold on to that fifth space? They're not going to win the title. We know that. I think this is Man City. Maybe Liverpool might catch them. They're only game at hand. And if they put that game away, they may be able to actually get that win. But as it stands currently, the key is going to be, will they be able to pull up the upset and catch Man City? I think Liverpool has the best chance. They are the closest team, but it really will come down to what has been able to come through and coming from that aspect. But we'll get into that a little bit more as we go through. So for those of you who were able to see us when we did our first video on Thursday, we covered a couple interesting topics there. We talked about Alphonso Davies and his myocarditis sitting back. And again, I used the Oxford Journal doc that was there. It is in the past video, so if you do want to look in the description, it has been added there. But I think there's a true possibility with a player, and essentially that he won't be ready for the World Cup. I mean, even talking co-host there, the idea was probably won't. He didn't think he would play again. I think we're getting really hopeful and excited, but it'll come down to when the inflammation is able to come down. So I think for a future video, I do want to do a video on players who can replace him in the program, whether that be as a fullback, more so in that hybrid wingback position, or even as a winger. I think that'll be an interesting name and an interesting video that we'll definitely do at some point. We may even do a live, may even have someone come up and do a little joint collaboration with that. Still working on that. We do have a few collabs coming up. I won't tell you too much about them as they come through, but that is definitely something that we want to look at and move forward with going through. So we are definitely excited with that aspect. But if you are in the chat here, or if you're watching this on the rebroadcast, don't forget to leave a like, leave a comment, give us a subscribe. Let us know what you think, especially how the EPL, how the Premier League is shaping up as we enter that home stretch and continue to move on. A bit of my week in terms of football to kind of talk about that. I think I spent most of my week watching a lot of the CONCACAF U20 women's competition. And I think what makes that one interesting, let me actually shift a little bit of light here. And let me just adjust my light here. You can look into this beautiful background. It's lovely. Finding that. Okay. Let's adjust. I think the interesting thing watching the U20 women's CONCACAF championship was just seeing the quality, and I think seeing Canada be able to do well. Olivia Smith, as I've said many times on Twitter, and I've said this in other forums and whatnot, Olivia Smith is just a very good, talented player, and look forward to see her on the national team, even though she's already had her debut. The U.S., a machine as normal. Mexico is starting to emerge and really push themselves on that female side, and we are really much excited to see what they're able to contribute to adding to that three-headed top head monster looking like on the male and female side of CONCACAF football. I think Mexico emerges as on the female side and Canada on the men's kind of rounds up those top three North American teams, leaving Central America and the Caribbean to catch up, whether that be in development or whether that be just continue to move forward there. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what those teams are able. But yeah, quarterfinal matchups are set. To remind you again, for the U20, the top three teams make it specifically as Costa Rica is hosting. So winning here gives the last four teams two opportunities to make it to the U20 World Cup. And right now, the way the brackets, if the seeds stand up the same, you would have Guatemala versus Mexico on one side of the bracket, and then you would have USA versus Canada on one side of the bracket. Though I did say on IMAX of Football's channel, I did say that I think Puerto Rico might pull an upset against Guatemala. So be on the lookout for those matchups coming this week. It'll be really interesting to see how that goes. And we are a few weeks away from CONCACAF World Cup qualifiers, excuse me there. So I am very much intrigued to see what will actually happen as we ended out, which teams look the best, which teams are a little bit nervous to go through. I know the States definitely has some questions to answer. They are close enough to qualifying, but still the ghosts of 2018 will always be with them. So will they be able to pull off the job? Can Costa Rica or Panama run up and surprise someone? Will Canada finish undefeated? Will Mexico finish first or second? These are the questions I'm intrigued with. But overall, that was my weekend. I watched a lot of youth football there, following the events of that's happening around the world, and truly just kind of trying to stay up there. Anywhere I can watch a matchup, I'll watch a matchup, especially on a national team level. I like to dive in and take a look to see what teams are available, what players are able to do in that standpoint. So it always doesn't trade me. If you give me a good matchup and I got a good stream, I will watch some football always. And I'm seeing the reflection in my glasses. I think I have to go back to wearing a hat now, which sucks, but maybe next broadcast will definitely do that. So as it stands, we're going to get going. We're going to get going to our topics here, and we want to talk about, and this is where I wish we had our co-host here because he is a big Man U fan, and though honest in that, is a Man U fan to talk about what is happening with him. But I think the question after the Manchester Derby is the key things with the Manchester Derby were we didn't have Ronaldo in it, which gave the opportunity to have other players really involved. I think based off of the matchup, players I really thought played well. I mean, look at the goal scorers. Kevin De Bruyne playing very well. I think it was nice to see him back on the score sheet, brought him into form. A goal in the 5th minute. It seemed like it was going to be that simple. But I will say, a player that has been gaining form on the United side has been Jadon Sancho. I've loved him. It's taken him a little while to get used to the pace coming from the Bundesliga, coming back in, but it's been really good to see a player like him really develop well and really play well in that aspect. So I think seeing him gain his form has been a good sight and an interesting season. I'm not sure if you're a Man U fan, how you look at the season. Do you look at the season more so from a standpoint of it's a disappointment because you aren't winning it, or are you looking at it from the standpoint of trying to make it back to the Champions League or even um, the Europa to make your way there? It's an interesting way to look at it. But Jadon Sancho starting to gain his form, playing well, goal in the 22nd minute, and then right back a few moments later, Kevin De Bruyne, 28th minute goal, 2 goals for him. And then you had interesting flow of the game after that. Between that and the next goal by Mahrez in the 68th minute, I think there were opportunities on both hands. We definitely saw Harry Maguire miss a few weak shot to net, but then you saw City really start to flex and move, putting balls on target and moving from that standpoint. A few acrobatic shots coming through, which were interesting that could have made it through, but weren't able to work through that way. And we had Mahrez coming in the 68th minute, and Mahrez again to really cap it off in the 90th minute. It's an interesting way. I think most people wouldn't be surprised by the result. I'm not sure if having, say, a Ronaldo in this matchup would have changed it, but I think on the aspect of how the team played, and this is where having Nell here would help. But I think no one should be really surprised by this. I don't think anyone is. But I think from a standpoint of Man U, the question will be, what does this really mean for them moving forward there? Do they have the opportunity to really grow into and use some of this momentum to get into that top 4 aspect? Or are they going to be really content with getting into that 5th place spot? Those are the questions that we really have to ask ourselves and see kind of where they're going, how that really works for them. If we take a look at the table again, just pulling her back up here. Look at the table here again. Ooh, too small. Yes, if we look at the table again, Man U is currently sitting only a point behind Arsenal, but with 3 games at hand for Arsenal. So Arsenal, if they're able to win their next game, that puts them very much 2 points behind third, which is a little more comfortable for them. But Man U only a point off that. And really, the only team in their top 5 that they're close to on that aspect is, in terms of game matches played, is Man City. So I think at this point, the fight really isn't between if Man U can reach Chelsea. Again, from my perspective, it looks more so like between Man U, West Ham, and maybe Spurs. Which of those 3 teams can take a hold of that Europa spot and come through there? That'll be the interesting aspect for that squad. So I think that'll be interesting looking at those final teams moving in that direction. When it comes to other fixtures that came through, I mean, we can just pull them up here. Games that came through: Leicester beating Leeds 1-0 on Jesse March's debut. I will say Leeds did look better offensively. They certainly did. We were able to play a little bit more attacking out there, but weren't able to get the result, which was unfortunate for them. You always want to have a good result when your manager debuts, but weren't able to pull it through on that aspect. So Leeds still falling, but looked better on the pitch. Leicester were able to pull it through. Chelsea beating Burnley 4-0. I mean, not much to say there. Chelsea, I feel, was the better team in that matchup. Villa beating Southampton, very much so. Very much unsurprising. Brentford with 3 goals from Ivan Toney beating Norwich, saving themselves from the bottom of the table. And we'll take a look at that in a second here. Newcastle able to string a win here. Again, relegation battle, giving them some space. over Brighton, who's falling a little bit back to that last relegation battle pack. Crystal Palace, the better of the two teams against Wolves today, to be perfectly honest. 2-0 win. I really felt that this result was at hand. Liverpool versus West Ham. I was watching, someone made a comment in one of the recaps and one of the highlight videos that they said they had a Man U type matchup where lots of shots on target, but weren't able to get one past the keeper. And I think that sums up Liverpool versus West Ham very well. I feel that's really the best way to describe it. Arsenal being Watford 3-2 is the final. I haven't had a chance to actually watch that matchup. So I will have to try to rewatch it and see what I can actually contribute to it. It's easy for me to look at the actual results and say, yeah, well, this and that. But, you want to make sure that you have actual, you want to make sure you have actual aspects and actual commentary to give. So that's kind of how you want to run it. So I want to take a look at that matchup. But then Man City versus United, same type of a thing. So let's take a look actually at the bottom of the table here. With Norwich and Watford both losing. I mean, points wise, 19, 17, 21. Everton is struggling. Leeds still dropping. But I think Brentford with that wing gives them a little bit more space. Newcastle's been in form, which makes them and the money that will be coming into them next season always intriguing. What will they be able to do with it? Can they sign good players, or will it just be mercenaries or us getting some players in to push them to that top 7, top 10, and then from there make a push for it? Or as some people are speculating, is this essentially going to be their team coming through, buying all the players, and the next thing we know, they find themselves as top of the table moving forward from there? Those are the questions that I think for the bottom. Aston Villa, it's nice to see Steven Gerrard. We had that conversation with him 2 weeks ago on the podcast where we asked ourselves, is he a good coach, or was the squad he had at Rangers just that much better than the rest, especially with the results they had against Dortmund and moving forward? Still waiting on that interview, but we'll definitely take and dive into that. But I think Crystal Palace, couple wins, couple draws, only one loss in their last 5, gives them an opportunity to continue to grow and get up there. Southampton isn't that far out of reach, though they're one game at hand out. I think if Villa and Crystal Palace, at the beginning of the season, I did say Villa was my dark horse. I expected a lot from Leon Bailey, wasn't able to produce, but with Gerrard on board now, bringing in Coutinho, who has been creative and has been playing well, I think it really does give him the opportunity to really jump in and move in from that aspect. But, speak of the man who is ready to jump in and give us his 2 cents on the Manchester Derby, the man of many names. Shall we bring him in and ask him, Sir Boy of the Nelly boy, how are you feeling?
What up? What up? Um, this was quite possibly the most boring game ever, due to the fact that I just knew it was going to happen this way.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's any Man U fan out there that expected us to beat Man City. Um, honestly,
Mm.
this stems from the fact that our best player is in prison, or whatever. Like, like, I know people don't want to talk about it, but the fact is that's our best player.
Hmm.
Outside of Bruno Fernandes, Pogba played well,
Yep.
um, but dude, we just don't have energy in the midfield. We clearly don't have any passing lanes. We clearly don't. Interceptions are poor. Like, Fred does one thing good, 10 things wrong. Like,
Mm.
there's no clear consistency in the team. So against a well-oiled, like well-drilled team, it's obvious.
No,
This was
it's
the most obvious
result wise, yeah.
result. Like, we were struggling against crappy teams. The thing about Ragnick's reign, if you can call it that, so his interim reign, Um, if you were paying attention, we hadn't played any good team. So
Oh well,
the
for
moment we
watching.
played, the moment we played a good team, we just got absolutely smashed. Now the first
Mm.
half was good. I'll be honest. I thought we went toe to toe with them,
No,
though
agreed.
though Man City was the better team. But then you thought bringing in Rashford and bringing in Lingard, who I don't know why he's still holding on to Lingard when it's clear Lingard doesn't want to be there.
Mm.
But I think it's just clear that our team just sucks. Um, I I don't know what else to say. Uh, it's again, as I've said, it's quite clearly the most we were going to lose. So it
Yeah,
didn't.
I don't think like you said, I don't think this game was going to be we were going to have this rousing victory. I think most people thought City would lose. But I mean, I think there were some positive.
United would lose, not
Yeah, I
City.
think most I mean United, yeah, City would
Yeah.
win, United would lose. But I think there were some positives still with the matchup. I mean, I think Sancho's goal kind of his playoff
No,
form
but
has been getting better.
Sancho's been playing. Anyone who hasn't been watching us,
Hmm.
I can understand why they might think Sancho's like because there's at start of the season Sancho where essentially was being played outside of his position,
Yeah.
expected to play. Um, the thing about Sancho that's interesting is Sancho's not necessarily like a goal scoring winger.
Hmm.
Sancho's supposed to be the more passing winger kind of dude.
Yeah.
So it's
Creator, not a creative
yeah,
necessarily.
he's a creative player.
Hmm.
So to see him the scoring wasn't even the most impressive thing for me. It's
Hmm.
how he's able to evolve so quickly in a team where there's so much change in terms of either negative or positive, depends on
Hmm.
you. But like Sancho's been playing out of his mind, man. The more I see him, the more I'm like, if this guy was at Liverpool or at City,
Hmm.
oh my lord, it'd be
He'd
a
be
completely
yeah.
different ball game. I actually think if City bought him and not Grealish, they'd be a lot better.
Oh, agreed.
Yeah,
I think that's fair. Grealish for all that they've like. I don't know what Grealish brings to that team necessarily that they didn't already.
I think is a you have sorry, you have what's his name? The City guy. He's also Portuguese. Um, Silva.
Yes,
Uh,
Bernardo Silva. Yeah.
but yeah, Bernardo Silva. Silva for me is a better version of Grealish.
Hmm.
So, and he plays in the position that Grealish technically should play in.
Hmm.
So, why have Grealish? He doesn't have ridiculous pace. His skill is in more passing, but in a team that has elite passers, Silva's better. Silva's like there's no I don't get why they bought him, honestly.
Hmm.
I think Grealish would actually be funnily enough, this is how I would play it. City get Sancho
Hmm.
because he's clearly what they need over Grealish. Grealish goes to Liverpool because I think
Yeah.
Grealish works in Liverpool's system or Man U's system because in either team he becomes a focal point,
Yes.
and I think that's where he'll flourish. So, but the thing is he better than Mane? No. Is he
No.
better than Salah? No.
No.
So
I think that's yeah.
maybe he replaces Wijnaldum, but then
Hmm.
he'll require a lot more like defensive work. In Manu, he slots straight in left wing, no questions asked. I think he pairs very well. He actually plays in that 4-2-2 system that Ragnick wants to implement. He would
Hmm.
have easily fit in that system. Either way, that was a useless game. It was the most foregone conclusion. Even before the game started, I was like, I don't even know why I'm watching it. I watched the whole game, and I'm like, this is so embarrassing.
That is fair. That is fair. And I didn't mention that while we were away there. So I think questions for the table. We kind of went through some of the fixtures here. Anything on your end that kind of stood out to you for Premier League matchups here this weekend?
Um, Nothing really. Everything just went according to plan, right? Leicester beat Leeds. Obviously, Chelsea destroyed Burnley.
Yeah.
Obviously, Villa beat
Mhm.
Southampton. That was interesting. Like I expected Villa to beat them, but I didn't expect them to absolutely body them.
They did.
Brentford
Yeah.
beat Norwich. Who cares? Newcastle beating Brighton. That one's a bit interesting.
It
I would have
is.
said Brighton should have beat Newcastle, but Newcastle have been honestly the work that Newcastle have done is insane. Like
Yeah.
Eddie Howe needs to be given his props. I've what he's done with Newcastle actually made me go. I remember when Arsenal wanted him, and I thought that was a stupid decision, and now I'm like, no,
That
he
makes
should have
sense.
gone. Yeah,
Yeah.
this guy's legit. Palace beat Wolves.
Mm.
I think that's fair. Liverpool
Yeah.
beating West Ham, pretty good. Arsenal and Watford. I think Arsenal winning, but if you watch the game, it was a bit close.
Yes.
Um,
I've watched that one game. I want to watch that matchup at some
yeah,
point.
it was
Yeah.
actually a good game.
Mm.
City beat United, par for
We
the
knew.
course.
Yep.
Tottenham versus Everton. Tottenham are going to win or draw. That's
Mhm.
how I feel. But yeah, like nothing crazy outside of Villa and Southampton. But the rest all followed what I would assume would go. You know,
Mm.
the Liverpool West Ham game, even though Liverpool won, I would say West Ham for the first half, well, quite possibly the better team.
No, they were. I think I was watching like one of the comments on the commentary on one of on I think the zone's recap, and someone was like, "This felt like a Man U game." Like, what? Balls on target, nothing getting past the keeper. Is that
Hmm.
what we're talking about? But it really was that type of a game, and I think West Ham deserved maybe a draw at that point, but
Yeah, no,
wasteful.
I think it should have been a draw.
Mm.
But then again, you only score the only opportunities you technically win. Um, you only take the chances you have, and
Yeah.
it's clear that they didn't. So
No,
either way,
def. Yeah. So.
this was if you asked anyone before the game who would win between Liverpool and West Ham, you'd say West Ham.
Mm.
Oh, sorry, Liverpool.
Oh
and
yeah,
then
yeah,
and then Arsenal getting into fourth place, they should be there.
yeah,
Will they get third? I don't think so. But weirder things have happened. So that's actually the interesting thing is Arsenal going to get to Chelsea. That's pretty clever.
yes.
That's pretty crazy.
So I think within the table, I mean Liverpool has the best chance of catching City at this point.
And they're
That's just
not
what,
catching them.
and
There's
I
no
don't
way.
think they're catching them either. But I
Because
think yeah,
if you see City's next games, it's all I
mhm,
think fodder.
yeah,
I think it's Crystal Palace. They beat them.
mhm,
Brighton. Oh, that was postponed.
mhm.
Us Burnley destroying them. Liverpool, which
Interesting.
is interesting. But then Wolves, Watford, Leeds, Newcastle, West Ham, Villa. It's fodder for them.
Hmm.
The only tricky games I would say might be um none. Honestly, I don't see any team here that can
Mm.
stop. Because City just, if you watch the way they play, they just outwork you.
Yeah,
You have no, yeah. In my opinion, maybe the only thing that might trip them up is if there's Champions League games in between
mm,
there,
yeah.
they might get tired. But their team is deep, man. Their team is so deep. Like
Mhm.
there's no City are winning the league.
Okay, so questions on this table before we move to La Liga and talk about what's happening there in brief. The battle for fifth. I think for me, I'm going to remove
Fifth?
Arsenal for for that
That's a battle. I don't think anyone cares about fifth place.
Europa.
No,
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 but
no one cares about fifth place, bro. Move on, man. Like, there's no one cares. The point is top four. After
no,
top four, I don't
fair.
care.
No, that's
Listen,
fair.
I don't care
But
if West Ham passes Man U. I don't care if Tottenham passes Man U. I don't care if
mhm,
Wolves passes Man U. The truth of the matter is that position is just garbage. I think Man U end the season in seventh, personally.
okay,
Um, but the battle for fifth isn't a battle.
no,
It's like what win again. If Wolves finish fifth, amazing season.
mhm,
If West Ham finish fifth, amazing season.
yes,
If Tottenham finish fifth, I don't.
disappointment
I guess.
for their
Well,
fans. Yeah.
Well, I think they'd be disappointed that they finished behind Arsenal, but I don't think they're upset because they struggled at the beginning of the season. But
Hmm.
outside of those two teams, if Man U finishes fifth, it's a disappointment.
Yeah.
Tottenham finished fifth, it's whatever. I think for West Ham, it shows growth. But
Yeah.
do you think West Ham are going to finish fifth? No. I
I don't.
think,
I think they're gonna run out of gas. I think.
yeah.
Yeah.
The thing is, between fifth and ninth, there's a lot of inconsistency there. So
Hmm.
I genuinely think this spot, fifth place, is probably going to go to Tottenham just because they have 3 games in hand. That's it.
Which is what I was getting to. So thank you for cutting through all of that extra stuff there. I do
Yeah,
appreciate. And
it's a waste of time, man.
hey.
Fifth is a boring. Fifth is not a race.
Hmm.
Fourth was a race until Man U just finally played good teams. So
Hmm.
and again, down there, like the last three, I think
Yeah.
that's set. I think that's those are the teams going down.
Hmm.
I would be shocked if any of the other teams go down as well. Like if
Huh.
Leeds comes down, I'd be very shocked. Everton going down, I'd be very shocked because I think. But remember, Burnley's next game is Man City, so their
That's
goal difference is gonna go crazy down.
hello minus 17
Yeah, man.
minimum.
Like
Yeah.
Burnley's what's Burnley's next games? Let me check. I don't really follow Burnley, so here we go. So they play Chelsea where they lost. Then they play
Yep.
Brentford,
Hmm.
which I think Brentford will beat them.
They
Then
should
they
beat them. Yeah.
then they play City. Then they play
Hmm.
Norwich, which
Mm.
is kind of okay because that means you just guarantee Norwich going down. Then they play West Ham. West Ham are going to batter them. Then they play
Mm.
Wolves. Wolves are going to batter them. Then they play Watford, which is interesting. And then they play Villa. Villa batters
Mm.
them. Tottenham batters them. Newcastle. Like, come on. The
Mm.
only game that they possibly could win is the 2 games they could possibly win if you're trying to give them a bit of rope is Watford and Norwich. And those two doesn't help them. You know
Yep.
what I mean? Like maybe it might because what are Leeds' next games?
Let me actually go there. Leeds next games they have Villa, Norwich,
Norwich. Yeah,
Wolves,
yeah.
Southampton.
Yeah. Watford,
Yeah.
Chelsea, Crystal
Chelsea.
Palace, Man
Yeah.
City, Arsenal. Yeah, Leeds have a better run. Because Leeds can beat Norwich.
Yes.
Leeds can beat Watford. Leeds can
They,
beat Palace. Like I genuinely can see them beat those 3
they
teams.
should beat they should beat those first two, but then Palace I should see them winning them as well, yeah.
I could see, or even better yet, all they need to do is beat the teams that they should beat, and
Hmm.
then draw against teams that they should lose. That they should lose. That's how you get away from relegation, man. It's that simple.
Yes.
Because
Indeed.
I don't think Burnley are going to, dude. Nah, Leeds are golden, man. I
Fair.
know Burnley has a game in hand, but
Yeah,
their
but I
game in
think they should be
their game
good.
in hand is against who is it? I think it's against Southampton. Southampton are gonna rush them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter.
All right. So, also, just for curiosity's sake, how high do you think Newcastle finishes based off how
Um,
they're on their form right now?
I don't care. I think Newcastle's aim was to get out of the relegation,
Relegation, which they have
so
done.
I don't think they finish. I think they still finish on the bottom table, but they're going to
Hmm.
be comfortable. I think they'll.
Yeah.
Catching Brighton is a task too high, I think, but maybe Brighton's like 13th, 14th is where I see them finish.
Okay.
But this to me was just a better sign of Newcastle in probably 4 seasons will be up there with uh, the top 4 teams.
Agreed. Agreed on that notion. No, I think. I mean, as much as Leicester getting into form, I think their range is 12th for me. Newcastle finishing 12th is probably. I think they do pass Brighton and they will pass
How would
Leicester.
they finish 12th? Leicester has a game in hand against them, and Leicester are a much better team just because they've had 3 bad games. And it's like Leicester has had really rough games.
Hmm?
Like they played Chelsea. Sorry, who are their last games? They played Wolves, who beat them.
Yeah.
I think Wolves are a better team than them, so that's fair. And then they drew against West Ham, and then they lost to Liverpool. So those three games are
Yep.
guaranteed. They played better teams than them. So
Hey,
the next games they have is
we should.
Arsenal, which they'll lose, and then they're going
Mhm.
to run through Brentford. They're going. I think they'll beat Man U. Honestly, I think Man U. By the time they play Man U, Man U's confidence is going to be so low that I think they'll beat them.
Mm.
And then they play Crystal Palace, Newcastle again. They're going to beat Newcastle. I think they're better than Newcastle, in my opinion.
No, I think that's a fair assessment. I still think they go, but we will disagree on this aspect as we move on to La Liga and the interesting of takes of hot takes and the hots of the takes. The table for La Liga has got a lot of people interested in this notion that maybe all they needed was blank. We have Madrid still at the top, should be running away with this, barring a team not collapsing at the end. Sevilla doing what they're doing. Barcelona back in their comfortable top three, winning four of the last five matchups. Madrid also their game up on them. Betis and Sociedad finishing out with Villarreal and the Athletic Club there. Interesting aspect is Barca over these last few weeks. And I think my question for you is really simple. Is Barca, is the Xavi version of Barca, are they gaining their form right now? Is this more of what we should expect from them? Or do you think this is just them in the string of games? How do you look at Barca and their recent success so far?
Uh, I actually don't get this question because I think Barca, they got Aubameyang.
Mm-hmm.
He's a goal scorer. They have. I think their team was already good.
Mm.
Like, the problem with Barcelona is everyone will always compare every single Barcelona team to the Xavi
Yeah.
Iniesta team.
Mm-hmm.
So it's let's be clear. Once you lose Messi, you are going to struggle. They were going to dip eventually. That's a
Yeah.
fact. I think Barcelona finishing third would be pretty impressive, honestly. And I don't think they have the consistency, but Xavi seems to be doing something there. But like they're they're still a good team. I don't know why people are looking at them going, "Oh, they're an awful team." I'm like, yeah, they're not world beaters,
Mm-hmm.
but they're better than Madrid, Atletico. They are.
Yeah.
Like Atletico Madrid has people who look good, but their style of play doesn't make them good. That's
Mm.
why Atletico Madrid has a ceiling. Barcelona's style of play has always been attacking, controlling
Mm-hmm.
the midfield, and maybe Xavi's coming in and now validating all that stuff.
Yeah.
But it's still too early to give Xavi his flowers. Like, let's see what he does in a full season with backing. I hear like apparently Barcelona is going for Haaland. I'm like, I thought they were broke. Like, what the heck is going on?
No,
But
apparently Barca just has their own currency and just says, "Well, our
no,
brand."
I don't think so. No, it's not about brand. It's about money. You
Oh,
can't buy.
agreed. Oh,
Haaland's
I
worth
agree.
like 150 odd million or some crazy
Mm.
number. So like, in my opinion, the squad looks good.
Yeah.
Um, it's more like a like genuinely, it's a third place team squad,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like
Yeah.
Igor Sevilla being up there, their third place team squad. Like I would say, the best squads for me is Madrid, Atletico Madrid, Barcelona. Then you can argue Sevilla, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a top
Yeah.
four, but that's it.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, and Sevilla's just basically capitalizing that everyone else
Has been poor.
has been poor, and they
Mm-hmm.
just moved up. So Madrid, I actually I don't think Barcelona. I don't understand. People have this weird tendency of just like overhyping things. Like, oh my god, this team is trash. No, they're not. They're not as good as the best team in Barcelona history. Like, they're not
Oh,
that
but
good. It's
oh,
like
but that
if
yeah.
Manu was compared, or if any other team was compared to the best version of their team, then they're trash. Chelsea's team now is a lot worse than the 2016.
Okay.
Trash. You know what I mean? Arsenal and the Arsenal team now looks like the fourth best. Sorry, Arsenal's team now looks like the worst version of the Invincibles team. Like I
Mhm.
personally, this agenda that people have, Messi papered over the cracks that
Mhm.
this team was going down.
Yes. No,
And
no doubt
by the
about
way,
that.
even next season, you need like a lot. They need a better defense. They need a better. The midfield needs to be improved on. The wingers need to be improved on. I like Ansu Fati, but he's probably 2 seasons. I think you need
Away.
an yeah, before he becomes like a world class
Yeah.
player. Um, Adama Traore, Aubameyang. Aubameyang is old, so you probably only have him for a season, maybe two, and then he's
Maybe.
done
Yeah.
for. So you need another center forward. Those aren't cheap. Like
Mhm.
the squad needs shaping, but I don't understand where people are coming from. So Barcelona, third place. I thought that's where they were going to be, even with Messi. That's genuinely where I thought they were going to be. Madrid
Okay.
are a much better team.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't. They weren't winning this league.
yeah,
I didn't
I
think they
thought
were
I
winning the.
thought they were
Yeah.
going to be third because I thought it was going to be Real Madrid, Atletico, then Barca.
That's what I thought would be too.
Yeah,
Right. But I mean, they're tied with Madrid here. I mean, Atletico. So
yeah.
it's
So they're
not.
basically around the same.
Mhm.
Yeah, like I'm not shocked. Thing about Sevilla's always been like this, by the way. Like Sevilla's always been a consistently good team. It's just that they've always struggled to break the top
The
three barrier. But
yeah.
Sevilla's always been a good team, and I think now they just got enough firepower to
Mhm.
push them up um, to second place. And long may they live there. You know, like
Yeah.
I guess it's one of the things about La Liga is honestly unwatchable. I'll tell that to any single La Liga fan. Your league is the most boring league of the big leagues. You are so boring. Who watches? I would watch Serie A small teams. I will watch Ligue A small teams. I will watch. I love the Dutch league because it's
Mhm.
all attacking. Spanish league is the most boring freaking league because every time a big team plays a small team, everyone just camps. Like they all sit in their own half and wait for um, the reckoning, except if it's Espanyol versus Barcelona. But
Mhm.
outside of that, Espanyol will get spanked by every other team. So who cares? So yeah,
No, fair. I think. Do you think Sevilla will be able to stay in their top two
yeah,
spot for the? Okay.
yeah.
I'm hoping they can because I mean,
No,
again,
they
they've
will.
always been a good team. Yeah. They.
That's the thing is Sevilla's a good team. So
Mhm.
the truth is there are question marks in Madrid, Atletico Madrid, and there are question marks in Barcelona. There are
Mhm.
no question marks in Sevilla. Sevilla are a good squad. So, but the thing is, will they be there next season? No, because Barcelona will break the bank, Atletico Madrid will break the bank, and then Sevilla will. Remember, like
Yeah.
Martial leaves,
Yeah.
he's on loan, so Martial leaves. Everyone wants Kunde, so Kunde is going to probably go.
Mhm.
Lamela is going to be older. Um, like they have very good players, but let's be honest, a lot of them will either be poached or like Rakitic is too old, man. Like they've got some. Again, this is more of like a they finally got the opportunity, right?
Yeah.
So that's it.
It's they finally got the. Is this like the because we just said Rakitic? This is like the Croatia's always had a good squad, but the version that finishes the best may not have been their most informed and was just the best one at that time that was able to do well. If that makes sense.
But, no, I just think they just took they. It's like when Leicester won the league.
Hmm.
I always said like when Leicester won the league was poor. It doesn't matter how salty you are, whatever. The league was poor. I actually think there was a 3 year period where the league was poor, where Tottenham for some time almost looked like it was going to win the league,
Hmm.
and it was Manu was shit. City was struggling to figure out themselves. Liverpool were rebuilding. So it was obvious that Leicester, the team that shows consistency, would win. And Sevilla would win this league. Why just not four? Real Madrid just hitting crazy form. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Either way, I thought Real Madrid were going to win the league regardless. So who cares? Ancelotti's a beast, man.
That he is. Player who deserves a lot more love than he gets. But yes, I think agreed there. For me, the whole Barca thing was always just about okay, they've won games, the machine has started. Is this because we've had our conversations of like how good our coaches, how good our squads. We had it with Gerard 2 weeks ago. But I think with Javi, again, like you said, it doesn't hurt when you add a Traore. It doesn't hurt when you add a Aubameyang who they're informed, so they can glaze over some of the cracks that are there. But the squad still needs to be better built. The the club overall needs money and all things that are
No, I
there.
actually
Yeah.
don't think they need money. I think they need to build cleverly. And yes, obviously money helps, but this
Mhm.
idea of trying to buy the next, um, they should have looked at the next possible, like, good 19 to 21-year-old players. And
Mhm.
then don't wait for them to be a Haaland once they're big. Like Osimhen was there. Napoli bought
Yeah.
Osimhen for 40 million.
Yeah.
So like if Barcelona has 40 million, 1 second, man. 1 second.
No problem. No problem. But I don't disagree with that. I think their big fish hunting shouldn't be their strategy. It should be the flip side of like finding those players who are on the verge of coming through. I don't know how much they can afford or if they can find a few squads with academy players who are on the verge of breaking through that they can almost becoming, whether it's a fair way of saying or not, almost becoming the Dortmund of the La Liga and letting their players gain some young players into that style and playing them that way. I think that could work for them in that aspect here. I don't know what you think about that.
Sorry, say that again.
No, I was saying like almost taking the approach of the Dortmund aspect of finding those young players and getting the play and then you flipping them later versus trying to go big fish hunting. I don't know if
No,
that's
but that's
going
the
to,
thing. I don't think
yeah.
Barcelona needs to go fishing.
Mhm.
I think those young players exist. Osimhen was good before
Yes.
he joined Napoli. There's so many good young players out there. You just need a good scouting department,
Mm.
and you need to understand what your style of play you want to have. Like Haaland
But
doesn't
that
fit Barcelona.
no, he doesn't.
He just doesn't. Haaland for me only fits. I think Haaland would be amazing at Liverpool. I think
Hmm.
Haaland would be amazing at Man U. And that's it. Chelsea. He'd be amazing at Chelsea. That's it. Like for all these guys who go, yeah, Haaland's amazing. I'm like, dude, he's just a goal scorer. People who compare him and Mbappe don't watch the game. Mbappe is
Yeah.
like next level. Mbappe is going to. Does Haaland score a lot of goals? Yes. In the same way, Ruud van Nistelrooy scored a lot of goals. Ask people who are the best strikers of all time. Very few people come out and say Ruud van Nistelrooy, even though he scored a lot of goals.
Mm.
Why? Because he's just a pure goal scorer. Mbappe is everything. Mbappe can start on the left like as a fullback,
Hmm.
dribble past 7 players, and score a goal. There are very
That he
few
can.
guys who do that, man. Like it's not the same. I think Osimhen is better than Haaland. Facts, and I've called it now. I genuinely think Osimhen is like bar any injury, Osimhen's going to be the best player in like 4 or 5 years. If you watch that kid play, you'll
Hmm.
understand where I'm coming from, man. He has everything: pace, speed, dribbling, creativity, everything. Osimhen is next level. The only problem with fast players like that, they always get injured, always.
Yeah.
So that's the only issue. And pace is such a um, crucial part of his game. But Osimhen is what many people thought Iheanacho was going to be. So
Yeah. That's
yeah.
true too.
So I
Yes.
think I think Osimhen has mad um, mad potential.
Mhm.
I
No.
love that guy so much.
Yeah, he definitely is, and I think for me, to give my 3 minutes of actually not my 3 minutes, my 3 seconds of crying before we move on. Yeah, I look forward to seeing him running through our defense. when Nigeria plays Ghana in a few weeks. Happy National Independence Day, Ghana. Please name your squad so I have something to look forward to. Please and thank you. Please. Please do so. But man, no, yeah, Osman definitely is the type of player that would have fit, but we'll see what they're able to do. See how it kind of goes through, how the season ends, how creative they get. I do definitely concur with the just get your football depth going, get your scouting, find those players, get them into the system. But I mean, that's football overall. Find the players that can fit your scheme, and you don't always have to get the most expensive one, just have the right ones, right? And I think that's what you have to do. Transitioning that, there's not really a fair transition to this next topic, but we're going to cover it. And it's what happened in the Liga Mexi game between, let me just pull up the article here and throw it up. But there, as of this point, I mean, this was published at 1 today, but as of yesterday, there were 17 dead when a brawl broke out at a Liga Mexi match between Atlas and the other one, Queretaro. Yeah, Queretaro. Yeah. The game was stopped. And yeah, some of the footage that's been on Twitter is, man, it is rough. It's stuff that's unfortunate. I think the most telling picture I saw was there was a family and a mom took off her young son's jersey just so that he didn't get caught up into the carnage, everything that was happening as they were on the field trying to make it to the exits.
Mm-hmm.
Man, it's a tough thing. It's something that has to be talked about. A lot of the reaction was that the Liga MX, they still had games playing, so there's a lot of disapproval with that. Some people are calling for Mexico to be withdrawn from the World Cup in 4 years. I'm going to say I don't know if would that be my call.
Who's saying that?
People are
Which
saying
people?
Twitter is a fun place,
Shut
man.
the
Twitter is
fuck
a
up,
fun place.
man. Like,
I don't think
you,
and again, it's 4 years away. I'm not diminishing what has happened here, but what I will say is, what is the right? We've covered interesting topics in terms of what's the right response to something like this. If you are either FIFA, if you are in the Mexican Federation, what's the punishment, if anything, you're putting down to something like this?
Okay. So this is the thing.
Yeah.
Hooliganism has been on the rise. I don't know if you've actually checked
Mm-hmm.
stats. It's on the rise everywhere. Not
It
just
is, yes.
not just Mexico. It's on the rise in Europe. It's on the rise in Africa.
Agreed.
It's
Agreed.
everywhere. And now this is the thing. I don't know anything about Liga MX, so I don't know if these two teams
have a
have a
rivalry or
history.
anything. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know much about them, so I couldn't
Mm-hmm.
tell you. I couldn't tell you what exactly is going on.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say that whatever the league needs to do, this shit needs to be stamped out, right? So
Yes.
put a bunch of fines. Both teams lose points, deduct points, do everything
Mm-hmm.
you can. Ban fans from the stadium, do all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, like let's people need to understand football for years has
Yes.
been like this.
It
It's
has.
only recently that we've now seen it's only been like in the last maybe 20 years that
Mm-hmm.
football's been clean. Football was rough, man. I never used to. So I'll tell the story, man. I never used to watch football. I was a rugby man, and the reason was I hated football fans. I didn't. I loved the sport. I
Mm-hmm.
hated the fans. So I literally, I remember once. So in Kenya, the two big rival teams is AFC Leopards and Gor Mahia.
Yeah.
And Gor Mahia played. So if there's a Kenyan watching, they know I'm not lying about this. So
Mm-hmm.
I was in school. I was in uni at the time,
Mhm.
and I had a class on Saturday. They usually play on Sundays,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and the reason they play on Sundays is because Kenya's a very, religious country. So
Yeah, yeah.
on Sundays, there's barely anyone on the streets. Everyone goes to church in the morning and they go home, right? Like,
Yes.
or people coming from the club go straight home. So Sundays
Yes.
usually very, very quiet in the streets and
Yes.
everything.
Hmm.
So, but this day, I don't know why the federation decided to play it on a Saturday. So I'm coming from class. I had weekend class, 8 to 5, eight
Yeah.
to four, 8 to 4. So instead of taking the bus that's like I from where my school was in Chiromo campus, um
Yes.
to my house is literally like 5 minutes away. But I thought, you know what, we had a routine with my friends. We would go down to town, get some food, hang out, and then go. So
Hmm.
this day it was just me and my boy Dan, and we decided, and I said, you know what, Dan, it's just you and me. I'll walk you home. Like, I'll walk you not home, but I'll walk you to your bus stop,
Yeah.
and then I'll just walk back. So I walk down, bro. There was no one on the streets. So I'm looking at Dan. I'm like, what the heck is like? I don't think you get it. It's There's no one. If anyone knows Nairobi, Nairobi
Hmm.
never has anyone on the streets of downtown. So I'm like, what the heck is going on, man? Bro, I remember I looked left. All I saw was a shirt of white and green, and that's Gor Mahia.
Yeah.
And then I just saw on the other end a bunch of like white shirts, and that was, I think, AFC Leopards.
Yeah.
And then in between them was Rye Police. And when I mean Rye
Oh
Police,
gosh.
I mean a slew. So I'm not joking. We were walking on one street, there's no one there. We take a left and we just see boom. We're in between, so we walk straight into the cops.
Yeah.
And we're like, yo, we need to back the heck out of here. So we walked back. Now, I felt bad for Dan because Dan can't go home because they had the street that they were blocking is
Hmm.
the next street is where the bus stops are. So he
Oh,
can't get
so
to
he
his
can't go
bus stop.
home.
He can't go home. I can go home. He can't go home. So I tell Dan, yo, how about we do this? Let's go to like a bar or something.
Hmm.
We'll we'll just chill, wait for this to cool down, and then we'll be good. Because usually they just go, what's the game?
Yeah.
So us two idiots went and watched a full game of a different like thing, and by the time we were
No.
leaving,
The
Gore
game was
fans were coming
done.
back. These guys were
No.
coming back from the. So luckily, and I'm not joking, guys we were in school with were in the Gore fans, so we
Hmm.
were able to walk with them until Dan was able to get his bus,
Yeah.
and then I walked back with them, and then I got back to where my buses were, and then we both left. And
No,
I think like a
man.
couple people go, like every time those guys played,
Hmm.
there would always be brawls. Nothing like as crazy as this. Maybe like maybe a couple guys get injured, maybe 10, 15. There was one that was really bad, like a couple
Hmm.
guys did die. But like I remember I remember watching, I hated English football because of like, dude, if you want to see gruesome stuff, watch Millwall games. I think it's Millwall,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
I can't remember which other team which team they beef with, whether it's Villa or something. But Millwall were rough.
Yeah.
Dude, like this stuff has happened so many
It
times.
had. Yeah.
Brazilian football, Argentinian football.
We even had
So
the stadium stampede at Afcon with the Cameroon stadium, right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
like,
So like
mhm.
for me, these things, and then that's not that's completely ignoring what happens in Turkey. That's
Mhm.
completely ignoring what
Completely,
happens
yeah.
in Serbia,
Mhm.
Russia, all these other teams. Italy, where ultra fans always clash.
Yeah.
You know, like apparently in Italy, and an Italian fan can tell me if I'm wrong or right, but they actually schedule, like they'll say we're gonna brawl at a specific location so that cops don't like intervene. They'll
Mhm.
go, they fight, couple guys get stabbed, couple guys get hit on with bats and so on. But then everyone goes home. Now someone will say, oh yeah, but that's more this case is, they're in the stadium, kids are there,
Yeah.
women are there. I'm like, yeah, but guess what? Wherever that they decide to fight, sometimes those things sprawl into the streets. And
Mhm.
then you're just driving by and you hit a guy, what happens to your car? Your car's going to get burnt. You're going to get beat the fuck up because you were just passing by and a guy runs straight into your car.
Mhm.
Like, come on. these things have happened. The thing that should happen is
Uh-huh.
we shouldn't tolerate it, right? Just
No.
super fine them, super ban fans from joining
Uh-huh.
the stadium, go back to COVID protocols, go back home. What's a game from home? You know?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Mm,
But like
mhm,
even watching the videos, they're just taunting each other. And I
mhm.
think COVID not only played a significant part to hooliganism coming back. I think that's the issue.
Hmm.
Well,
Why
because
do you say that?
people were bored, man. A lot of a lot of
So you're saying a
anger
lot of
into
pent up aggression over these
exactly.
last 2 years,
Yeah,
and then when you
two.
finally get a matchup, it's just like you're
Remember,
just
a
like,
lot of like think about Mexico. Mexico is a very it's a industrialized country, but
mhm,
in the same sense, it's a lot of people lost their jobs because they were going to factories and stuff to work.
yeah, mhm,
So you don't have you. So when COVID hits, you're not going to the office. You're not going to your job and stuff. So you're broke. Then
mhm,
everything opens up again. You know, you save a couple shekels. You go and watch a game. Rival fans just yelling at you. Maybe they scored a goal or something. You're so
yeah,
screwed over. Some guy chucks a beer can at you, or that's how these things start, right? They happen all
oh
the
yeah,
time. Some guy
mhm.
chucks a beer. Usually, you think like the scary thing about this, there were no cops.
You didn't see any,
Yeah,
and if there
and that's why I
were, yeah,
wonder. That's why I wonder, was this a big rivalry? And that's why I would like a Mexican fan
mhm.
to let
So
us know.
in the
I,
yeah,
I don't know because, as I said, with gore games, you see a sea of cops everywhere because
yeah,
everyone knows this is a big rivalry, right?
mhm.
But this might have just been two teams, maybe I don't know. Now, let's look at Liga MX. What's the table look like?
Let's do that. Let me pull it up.
Are they close in? Yeah, a bunch of games are postponed after this, right?
Yeah, they were postponed afterwards. Yes,
So Queretaro is 12th and Atlas is 7th. So they're not even close. And I don't know if are they in the same area?
I. This is where I wish I had a bit more on it
The
because
Queretaro
all my friends are
FC.
all just literally all my friends are just either Cruz Azul,
So
or
Queretaro
we're
is
Pumas fans.
in what part of it is it? So it's in Queretaro City.
Yes, and then
And then where's
Atlas.
Atlas? Atlas is in Guadalajara. Now,
Yes.
question is because I'm not the biggest Mexican nerd,
Hmm.
where exactly is Querétaro City? And you know, this is the thing is like I don't know much about the system, but I'm assuming this whole thing is I'm hoping it's if it's a big rivalry, that's actually a failure in the system that there are no cops.
Yes.
But if it wasn't a big rivalry and it was just two teams playing and then things escalated in the stadium, I
Hmm.
don't blame the cops being overwhelmed
Hmm.
because who would know, right? Like that's just how I view it.
No, agreed with you. But I mean, per the question I asked, I think for me, it's you got to you got to ban fans for them
Yeah, no,
until you figure it out what
yeah,
and
I
who it
know.
is. Because yeah,
Ban fans, find the teams. If
yeah,
you need to deduct points, deduct points.
yes.
But I would say the idea of saying ban Mexico because of this is
I
ridiculous.
think I would agree with you there. I
People
would agree
who
with you there. Yeah.
listen, and we've talked about this in other podcasts, and I've said I would want more football games in countries that I've never seen because
Yes.
I get bored of watching World Cups in Europe.
Hmm.
Guess what? I'm tired of. I already watched them in the Euros. I don't need to watch them again. Show me show me a different culture. Show me
Yes.
culture in South America, in Africa, in Asia. Show me other things. So Mexico is actually a good place because it's a mixture of both North American culture
And
and
Central American
Central
culture.
American
Yeah.
culture. So that's why I want to go see. I and we actually discussed this, did we not? We said
We did.
of the
Yeah.
three countries, which one would you rather watch games? And we said Mexico. Even though
Yeah.
we both live in Canada and we know games are going to be here, I'd
Yeah.
still rather fly to freaking I don't know Cabo or Cancun or wherever and go watch a game and have fun over
Yeah.
there than come here and we're gonna get charged up the ass to go
Mhm. Oh, for
traffic.
sure.
And I'd rather be stuck in traffic with some Mexican bad bees than freaking
I don't want to be
Canadian flat
stuck on the
tracks over here. Girls looking like a
QEW trying
ruler.
to go see Toronto, like
Bro, I'm on the
the stadium. You know what I mean?
QEW with
Like
a
I get
chick who
that.
looks like a ruler. She's got the same
You're really
aerodynamics
doing
as a
this?
fridge. Like I don't want to be stuck with fridges out here. I want to see a
Stop.
chick who
Stop.
I want to see a person who looks like they could break.
Yo.
She breaks the laws of what's it called, about
Why
autonomy
are
and
you
stuff. Like
doing
I
this?
want a girl
Why are
who
you
looks
doing this to me?
bad. Okay, so you see when I'm going to get a drink, right? We've gone to a store. We're getting food. We're getting drinks. In Canada, we're gonna meet a chick who looks like a fridge
We're really
selling
doing
me.
this, eh?
Think
We're
about
really
it.
doing this,
There's an
eh?
office cabinet selling me overpriced Coke, overpriced food, right?
Mm.
In Mexico, I'm getting overpriced tacos and stuff. But guess what? It's a bad mamacita, so I'm good with it. Okay, I'm good. I'm like,
I'm
hola.
done.
You
I'm
know,
done
I,
with
I
you.
I want a Mexican chick who doesn't even speak English, and we're fully having a conversation than this boring ass fridge magnet
Yo,
telling
my
me
guy, my guy.
$25 for Coke.
And a soft pizza. Don't forget the soft pizza too. Yes, let's not forget. No, but I think yeah. Back to the topic at hand. Yeah, suspend
No,
fans,
suspend
fines, go
fans,
from there. Yeah.
find them, and then yeah, I'm with you there. Suspend
Mhm.
fans, find the teams, deducting points. I think Queretaro might find it rough because they're almost relegation. But hey, guess what?
Yeah. No, they
Uh,
don't have relegation in League MX, so
they don't have relegation. So what
no,
happens when you're at the bottom?
you're at the bottom.
Are you doing maybe it affects maybe what like their cash flow?
I believe it would. I have to go deeper into that, but yeah, there's no
Well, obviously, I'm
relegation. Yeah.
guessing.
One would assume, yes, yes.
Yeah.
No, but that's interesting. Which I mean, you've kind of mentioned that we wanted to go with this, with that, because I mean, thoughts and prayers to everyone who's been affected by this. But what's the worst football environment you've ever been in?
As I've said, I don't think you understand how bad that Gorma here thing is.
Yeah.
It's pretty intense.
Hmm.
Like I'm not joking, trust me, any East African football fan will tell you it
Hmm.
is not a joke.
Yeah.
Like I'm not kidding. If you know there's a Gore game, they announce it on air the whole week so that
Hmm.
you know on a specific day you're
Don't
not
be here.
supposed to be in
Yeah.
town or don't be near
Hmm.
the stadium that they're playing in. So much so that they were banned from a bunch of stadiums. They can only play in like one of our national stadiums, and that's it. Both home and away games, they can only play in one stadium. I don't know if that changed, but like it was bad, man. Yo,
No,
um,
yeah,
I'm heading. The guy I was supposed to give a guy
a
my
desk, and
stuff.
now he shows
Yeah,
up.
he
Yeah.
shows up right now, so I have to go. I'll be back though.
Yeah,
Wait
no
for the stream.
problem, no problem. No, but I think for me, my worst, or it was even the worst. So to put some context here, when I visited back in Ghana in '99, and where my mom's family lived, they were literally right outside the Kumasi Sports Stadium, the Kumasi Stadium that was there. So we were there, and like this is like my first, not my first exposure to like fandom, a little bit of hooliganism, but like Kotoko would play. Ashanti, Kotoko, Kumasi were there, and then the rivals still Ashanti, Hearts of Oak, Accra Hearts of Oak were their rivals. All the other matchups, they'd be out. You'd see the procession of like the fans waving the red flags, everything going in. There was a Kotoko, versus Hearts of Oak match. My parents were like, "You don't go outside. You stay inside the house." We weren't allowed to go outside, and like I didn't get it. And then we went to go see a match. And I think, yo, I mean, I didn't know this was how it was, but we went to go see a match up there. So we're in the stadium. I'm there with my dad and my little sister. My dad took my because my dad took my brother to one match, and then he took me and my little sister to another match. And yo, like there were like 3 fights broke out around us to the point where like my dad dragged us and we were sitting basically isolated. And the thing, anytime a fight would start, I don't know if how familiar you guys were. So back then, this is 1999. They didn't have water bottles or anything in the stadium. So basically, they'd have like these little like water packets. Like they'd just be like, imagine like a plastic, think like a Ziploc bag that were like steel or steam seamed shut. Anytime a fight would break out, or you knew a fight was breaking out, when you just feel splash beside you, and you're like, "Why is there a splash?" Then you look up, and this is I'm like 10 at this point. You look up and you see a wave of just like these mini water packets aiming at coming down at you. That's what you see coming up at you, and you're like, "Why?" And you look left, and then there's a guy who's got a bad bet on the matchup. He's got this guy in a polo shirt ragdolling him down the seats. This is before they had actual seats. Appreciate it, IMAX it. Appreciate it so much. But yeah, we're talking about like my craziest football experience in the stand. So I look up, there's a wave of water sachets and packets coming at me. Then I look to my left and there's a man who's ragdolling another man over a bad bet. I look over here, there's another guy who's fighting and there's haymakers, and I'm just like a confused 10-year-old. Just what is happening here? And I just feel my arm get grabbed. And my dad just literally like drags me and my sister over to the side. So then you just see like 2 fights going, and then you see a wave of satchels and a wave of balls of water just flaming and going down. And I was just like, oh, this is why we didn't go to we didn't go to that derby, eh? And he was like, yeah, this is why. So I think that was my most interesting, insane in terms of a football matchup, in terms of a soccer experience overall, man. Football overall, it was. I still go back and think about that because it was confusing. Anytime I feel water and I'm sitting outside, I immediately think there's a fight happening beside me. But yeah, literally, it was. And then the next matchup we went to see was Ghana versus Jamaica, which was fun. Ironically, you're jumping into these stories, JD, so I appreciate it. But man, that was the more interesting game matchups I go. But yeah, African derbies are interesting. They're interesting around the world, but I mean, when you actually get to experience, man.
I'm back. What's
Yo,
going on?
welcome back. Okay, so I'll tell the story again because you missed it. But my dad, when we were in Ghana in '99, my dad took me to. There were 2 things. First, where my mom's sister lived. She lived right beside the stadium, right?
With like the main stadium,
Yeah, the Kumasi Stadium for where we were at. So
Kumasi. Okay.
yeah, so whenever like the Ashanti Kotoko was the team in Kumasi, so that's you every game day you'd see them like trucks galore, the red flags going. You're like, okay, whatever. The
Mm-hmm.
day that Hearts of Oak came, my mom and her sister were like, "You're not going outside." Like, what do you
Hearts
mean?
of. Also, that's like the rival team.
Yeah, that's the rival team. Like the
All right.
regional
Yeah. Yeah.
capital versus the capital. It would be like if like
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Toronto
yeah.
played Hamilton in
Oh,
Canada
kind
here,
of thing.
right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like we weren't allowed to go outside that day.
Okay.
And I was just like, I didn't get it. And then like we went to the game. So like my dad took my brother to see a game, and then he took me and my little sister to see a game. And there
Okay.
were things I learned. The first was that when fights broke out, the
Mm-hmm.
people at the lower, like you remember, like they didn't have water bottles. We just had like the plastic sealed like water pouches.
Yeah.
Did you
Yeah.
guys
Yeah.
have that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
But like, uh, on it when I was kids. Yeah, like when we were kids. I haven't
Mhm.
seen those in. I think that's like we don't allow plastic now, so you can't even buy
Yeah.
those.
Oh no, that different. 99 was a crazy
Yeah, that
was
was
a
a different
simpler
time.
time.
But no, we had the those and like what people have like what are they called? Like I know I've seen them here too. Like it's like
Mm.
tubes, like plastic tubes
Yeah, yeah,
with
yeah.
like ice in them or like some kind of icy drink.
Yeah,
But no, I know what you mean. Like actually plastic,
yeah.
a plastic bag with
With
water in it.
water that you'd have to
Yeah,
bite in and drink while you were there.
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Yo, so
That's a
like,
flex, man.
that was actually what my mom's sister. That's what she was doing. So she
Yeah.
had a whole business doing that, selling those. So we would be
Okay.
there, and then you felt, and that's when I learned when you felt splashes around you, it wasn't beer. There was a fight happening.
Yeah,
So we
yeah,
were
yeah.
just
Okay.
like, "What's going on?" So I feel a splash. I look up, and there's a wave. There's literally a
Oh,
wave of these coming from the upper deck. Like, why is this happening? I
Mm.
look to my left, there's a dude who's getting ragdolled by a guy in a polo shirt because a bad bet or something.
Yeah, something happened. Yeah.
I go on my other side, there's another
Mm.
2 fights happening, and I'm
Mm.
just like, I don't know where I'm supposed to go. I could run towards the field, but
Yeah.
that's where like the fans are like basically just going crazy over every back call. So like
Hmm.
at this point, my dad just grabs my arm and my little sister and just drags us away. And I'm looking
Yeah.
back and I'm seeing this, and it's literally like think final stand. There's just a wave of like these water pouches coming down, and man's just getting
100%.
like
Yeah.
uppercutted, going down cements, failing, and you're just like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Oh
Oh,
man.
dude, I've seen those. Like, we've been. This is the thing about
Mm,
the thing I will say. Like, luckily, growing up in Kenya is you're not. Us guys, it was very clear. You don't take kids to
mm.
games that are sketchy. You just
Fair enough.
didn't. Like,
Yeah.
you would, like, even when people would bring their kids, you'd hear people from, like, even opposing teams before the game, right? They'd say, "Yo, I wouldn't bring kids here." Like, they're basically telling you, "Hey, if you're doing this, this is on your own. This is your fault if your kid
Yeah.
gets messed up, because we don't play. Like, now we're friends. As we go down, we're cool. By the
Mhm.
moment we open, because I don't know about you guys, but like, our stadiums.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Again, it's been a while. It's been so long. It's been a couple of years. So if any Kenyans listening to this and going, "Oh man, that doesn't happen anymore," I'm like, well, we're talking 15 plus years now. I haven't been to a football game in Kenya for so long. But
Yeah.
it's like you're herded in. It's like cattle.
Yeah, no, I
Like,
know. I know what you mean.
and
Yeah.
the crazy thing was, the security was lacking. Like, the only thing they checked was what's in your bag. So
Mm.
legit, I know some people were carrying knives.
Oh, yeah,
Fact,
yeah, for sure.
100%. I know people were carrying knives, man. But they would only check what you have in your bag. That's it. And then the fact that you could get alcohol in there was also
Yeah.
sketchy, because guys would get drunk, and then
Oh, yeah.
you and that's the thing, is it's just childishness.
Mhm.
But um and you know what's funny? I have never been to a game here, which is crazy. I've
You've
always
never
wanted to go. I've
really?
never gone to a game in Canada, man.
Yo, because I know I'm gonna check out some of like the League One matchups this year because there's stuff in
Yeah,
St. Catharines. But no, we'll
I want to
definitely
go
do
to a
that.
TFC game,
Yeah, we should definitely
like
go
a
to a
big one.
TFC game. Yeah,
Mm.
and then maybe a CPL game because that's only Hamilton. So, I
Yeah, yeah,
mean,
yeah,
drop. Well, that's on the list. We're definitely doing that.
yeah, 100%.
Oh
It's
man.
one of the funniest things, because the TFC. Who was I talking to? Was it my boss? My boss is a big TFC guy, like massive.
Mhm.
And
Yep.
I think when we were talking, he said he like we were supposed to go, and then he had to forcefully, well, he retired early because of personal reasons. But
Yeah.
I remember, um, like, I was supposed to go watch a game with him. He was a really cool guy, and we supported the same, like, teams in general. So
Mhm.
yeah,
No, we're definitely gonna.
we'll put that on the agenda.
That'll be a recap video of yo. This is a thing. Actually,
Hmm.
yeah. The thing that's been interesting is there's a lot of with Canadian fans. There's a lot of TFC fans, a lot of Hamilton fans. So somebody hook us up with tickets, please, please. We're
Mm.
friendly. Great press. Oh
No,
man.
dude, I don't mind. I would love to go to anyone who's like, if there are people who know, like, super cool places to go,
Mhm.
I'd love to go watch a game.
No, definitely. I
Oh,
know
we're
for.
definitely watching World Cup or watching a game.
Oh,
Guaranteed. Well,
definitely.
we
Yes.
will book. I don't care if we need to book years in advance. We're booking years in advance.
Oh,
Well,
definitely.
I've never watched a World Cup game, so that'd be my first one,
It
like
would.
live,
Yeah.
like in person.
No. Yeah, that would be interesting. And
Have you watched
I
a
haven't
game?
seen a World Cup. I haven't seen a World Cup match live. I've never been in a country where the World Cup is happening. So.
Mm. That's same. Well, the thing is, it's not just going to the country. There's so much stuff that goes on in those. That's why I never even tried.
which is why I think it would have been interesting. I think Rio would have been a fun one to go to, like just to go to
Yeah.
Brazil. That would have
Mm.
been fun. But I mean, you would have had Rio 1 week, 2 years later, you'd have the Olympics after that. So it'd been like, just go to Brazil for 3 years. You're good. But no, yeah, we're definitely going to do. I
No, I'm
know.
not. My wife doesn't believe in going to Brazil.
Okay, well, I'm not going to out her on this, but
Yeah.
tell her she needs to travel more. That's what I'm going to say.
No, I'm
That's
just
what I'm
gonna
going to
say
say.
I think she's right. I'd be a I'd be a menace in Brazil, man. I'd need her walking with me
Yo, guy, don't out yourself like
everywhere.
that. But I know,
I'd
like,
need
for example,
no,
speaking
it's
of games,
facts.
I know
I'm
for
I'm
the
gonna be
Jamaica
honest.
Canada matchup, some of the
Yeah.
content creators are trying to get together for that. So we might even
Ah,
just try to get together in either whether that's in Hamilton or Toronto downtown and just hang out
let's
for that. So
go.
I'll
Yeah, yeah,
definitely
yeah,
keep you
yeah. I'm
posted on
definitely in for
that,
that.
and
Yeah.
I'll let everyone else know because I've been told that I have to go regardless. So
Wait, so
I'll
this
be
is
there, and you're coming with me. So it'll be a fun time.
all right.
World Cup qual. So with that being the case, I don't know if anyone. I don't think we have. No one's in the comments for that, but that's cool. I think for the most part, this has been an enjoyable experience. We're gonna try to do this every Sunday, just recapping things, recapping stories in the world of football. We're gonna try to go a little bit worldwide with it too. So not
Mhm.
just sticking to the stuff that we know, actually trying to find other stories that are interesting in that aspect while still
Yeah.
covering everything else. But yo, Nelly,
Yeah,
thank
yeah, yeah,
you
yeah, yeah,
for
yeah, yeah,
spending a
yeah.
little time with us today.
Let's
Always appreciate
go.
you on the pod. Appreciate you in life always, man.
In life. Wow, it's a bit deep. All right. Yeah, man. Sad day again to all those all the
I
people
think
who
we
either
just
lost.
lost Nelly.
What? I can see
That's
myself.
interesting. No, I do not hear him. Well, that's awkward, but it goes in. And then for everything, guys, you can still find us on Twitter and the Africans. We're there. We do that podcast. We're going to put a copy of this
Yeah, yeah,
podcast
yeah,
there
yeah,
as well,
yeah.
so you'll be able to listen to this in podcast form as well. But then keep out an eye out for the more content we have. We do have a recap on the Arnold Clark Cup, a recap of that just happened. So check that out in podcast form, and then check out some of our other podcasts that we've done in the past. But until then, this is just a Kwesi from the Africans. Nelly, you know how it is. You guys take care. We look forward to hearing from you again. But
Peace,
until then,
boys.
bye bye for now.